Welcome everybody to ESC Fan TV. What's that? ESC Fan TV. ESC Fan TV. ESC Fan TV. You are not going to regret tuning into our show this evening. We are taking a look back at Eurovision 1992. That's right. For those who watched our watch party on Facebook this past Wednesday, don't forget you can tune in every Wednesday where we have a different look back at previous Eurovision Song Contests of yesteryear. You will have known that we have shown Eurovision 1992 all the way from Malmö in Sweden. That's right, the 9th of May, 1992. Some of the panelists weren't even born. And we are going to walk you back in time. Try it on, Andy. We know you were born maybe 50 years plus. Back to Eurovision 1992 and all of the fun and madness there was. So, shall we have a little think? And, I tell you what, even better, let's talk to our panelists, shall we? Let's start with returning Retrovisionista. It's Andy Brooke. Andy Brooke, hello. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. I've come as Terry Wogan, but I won't insult the Irish by trying to do an Irish accent. Oh, I will, but not just yet until I've had half a pint of Baileys. And in true Terry Wogan style, I've done absolutely no preparation whatsoever. So I'll be winging it, but I've got a list of my favourite catchphrases. Many a time and oft for the Netherlands.
Well, thank you for telling us who you've come as, because quite honestly, it looks exactly the same as Toto Coutinho and Katrina from Katrina and the Waves. So moving on.
I'm on a shave.
Just had to say hello to Denmark. Hello to my co-host for this evening, who looks like he's in his dressing gown. Hey, Nicholas.
Well, that's not what I was going for. I may as well just say that. I tried to dress up as Kenny Lübke, but the wig wasn't really what I expected when I bought it for cheap, and this was the only jacket that I really had that could work. Like he was a rock singer before he went to Eurovision, so I think like the look kind of works. I tried my best at least.
You look fabulous. And just below me, we're going to go back in time to imagine Krista Björkman at the age 20-something and a twink. We say hello to Gustav.
Hello, guys.
How's Sweden today?
Lovely as always.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We're going to say hello for the very first time to Siga. Is that Siga? Hey, Steve.
Hi. It's supposed to be, but it's the nearest I'll get to her. My toes are because I've got fair hair and a yellow T-shirt, so that's it. But that Siga is in Heart to Heart, the Icelandic entry. And
we're going to say hello to Mr. Bongo himself, all the way from Israel. It's Sean.
Yeah, I just had a realization though that I actually fucking look like Rose West this week. And anyway, I've come as one of Dafna's backing singer bongo player things that had a microphone sellotape to the T-shirts for some reason.
And you have a nice pair of bongos, if I do say so myself.
Cracking pair of bongos, Stuart.
Somewhere in the chat room, we won't bring him on screen because he's just disappeared. I suspect it's Wi-Fi specific, given that this, of course, is 1992. Somewhere is Tristan come as Callie from France. But what we do have on screen, we have all the way from somewhere up north in Scotland, we have Ian and Donna. Ian and Donna, who have you come as this evening?
Hello. Well, this is my best effort for the lady from Belgium, Morgan. And Sweden. This is not Sweden, Spain.
Spain.
So
That's rude.
Although it could be someone from the Matrix, maybe.
And it looks as though we may have Callie. We may have Callie with us all the way from France. Hey, Tristan.
Bonjour. How are you doing? Yes, very well. Fantastic. I've got very bad internet connection at the moment, so I may be changing Wi-Fi shortly, but
that's fine. It's fine, Callie. It's 1992.
Crikey, he's gone to a lot of effort. He's dyed his hair and his beard and his eyebrows. Fuck's sake, you'll be like Callie forever.
Hey. Shall we kick the show off? You know the routine, guys. You're in the chat room. Send your comments through. And someone will play the guitar as well as hopefully put your comments on screen. If you like tonight's show, give us a thumbs up. if you haven't already, click subscribe. We would love to have you with us. But most importantly, whether you subscribe or give us a thumbs up or even a thumbs down, do click the bell button, which means that when we do go live next time, you'll be notified and you can come and join us in the chat room as always. We're going to start with the bottom scoring 4 songs. That's right. That's Finland, Sweden, Luxembourg, and Belgium. Let's take a listen.
Yumma 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 yumma. Så länge spänningen finns kvar, imorgon är en annan dag. Så flöjan var, så frejsade nu over the piano with the statue to play.
Well, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Let's start off with Yamma Yamma from Finland. Let's go to Nicholas. Nicholas, this was actually quite the fan favourite. What happened? Why did it score so badly?
You know,
this is a fan favourite, Andy. I can see you shaking your head there. Behave yourself, Mr. Wogan. Nicholas.
There was alive in those days. It was.
I was too. Nicholas.
I think this is so much fun. I enjoy this so much, and I can see why this was a fan favorite. Definitely. I don't know, like, because to me, like, looking at 1992 for the first time, it's a bit of a weird year in the sense that I don't really think, like, the staging with, like, the whole Viking boat and everything really does anyone a favor, I feel like. So I think it's just a case of that the song got a little bit lost. I don't remember where exactly it was in the running order, but I do think there's a lot to be said about it. I think it's the kind of song that people can jam out to, but maybe like professional music juries, which was all we had at that point, you know, they would maybe not connect to it. And I think this is, you know, one of the songs that really showed like why the televoting was introduced just a few years after this, because we are here in the beginning of the 90s seeing a clear shift in what kind of songs is at Eurovision and what kind of songs like the fans like versus, and like what the fans like, what charts, you know, and then looking at what the juries like. So I think it was obvious that the televoting was going to come at some point, and I think this is a year where we start to see kind of like that that it's about time.
And Mr. Wogan, I thought of a really intellectual question, given that you were born in 1992. That bit's clear. And all I can think of really is, I've got to put this to you, Mr. Wogan. Was yellow the new black?
Well, it was a year for yellow, wasn't it? Every other act was in yellow. As far as I know, yellow's only won once, and that was in 1977, when Marie Miriam had to buy her own dress. Because she wasn't thought to have a chance in hell, and French TV didn't have a budget. But I wanted to ask on the staging, Gustav, why would the Swedes go for a Viking theme? You're not really known as massive Vikings, are you?
How am I supposed to know? I wasn't even born.
Fair enough.
Go call your parents, ask them.
And a question for Gustav. Christer Björkman sang for Sweden in 1992. He famously claimed that his song should have come top 3. Was he right to think that, or was he just a little bit mad?
Of course, it's a great song, and everyone who says it's not is wrong. So he was right, and everyone else was wrong. And I'm channeling my inner Christer Björkman right now.
It came third in 1995, didn't it? When they rehashed it and sent it again.
and how does the song compare to a lot of other Swedish songs? How do the Swedes think about this song? Do you think back and think that should have done better, or it kind of got what it deserved?
I mean, Sweden have been doing really great and sending really good songs in the last couple of years. But this is a song that, like, the older generation still likes. My parents still likes it, and like, yeah, their generation, like you guys, they still like it.
You're a dead man.
But and I like it. But you know, I like slow, sad songs. But in general, no, it's not a song people talk about anymore. Christer Björkman is just the head of Melodifestivalen.
Yeah, and Luxembourg. Let's come to Nicholas on this one. Luxembourg. She sings about being as high as a kite. How high was she when she chose that jacket of hers?
Very, very is my guess. This is so clear for me. Like around the time, obviously, this is the second to last entry that Luxembourg sent to Eurovision, and it's clear that the contest was changing, and it just wasn't the same anymore. Luxembourg wasn't really following along with the times. They were just kind of like trying out some things, didn't really work. Like from what I read, because I read a little bit up on it, it was like they didn't have a traditional national final. They basically just internally picked the singer, and then there were 2 songs to pick between. I haven't heard the second one, but it probably didn't do much either. I think I kind of understand why Luxembourg just took like that. This was one of the last entries, because I think at this point they just didn't know what to do with Eurovision anymore, and they were just kind of done with it, I guess. And times were changing. New countries were coming in. Soon we would see a bunch of new countries. So of course, while Luxembourg is still very much missed for many fans, myself included, I think they were just a shell of their former selves at this point.
And we can't really move on without talking about Belgium. And lovely Donna's dressed as Morgan from Belgium. But Mr. Wogan, what the hell were they thinking?
Well, she's very pert little singer. And there was a whiff of the souk about it. What were they thinking? Goodness knows. It sounds like a pastiche of a typically French song. And then as if somebody went, hang on, we can't do that all the way through. So they stuck a completely different chorus on. I mean, it's just absolute shite. Gobshite. Gobshite. Terrible.
Thanks, Andy.
Right, let's move on to the next set of 3 songs. This, of course, is the songs that finished 19th through 17th that year. Turkey, Norway, and Portugal. Let's take a listen. I think what we'll do, we'll go to Ian and Donna first. Ian, Donna, lovely to see you this evening. These 3 songs, should any of them have scored better?
I think so, definitely.
Yeah.
They still have some of them have a little bit of 70s, 80s feel about them still, but they work quite nicely, I think. I know I would definitely choose a whole different set of what the final results were anyway, and these would be much higher up for me.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I think the not so much Turkey. I think that probably deserved to be pretty far down. Norway and Portugal, yeah, they're better songs. I do like the Norwegian ones. There's a lovely sort of lush production about it. They really used the orchestra on that quite nicely. And actually, notice the Portuguese singer. Initial feel was like, no, she could do like a proper gig. And then read up and found she's done 9 albums, 30-year career. So for her, Eurovision was just a tiny blip on there. But yeah, they should have done quite a bit better, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Turkey probably got what it deserved, given the fact it's now geo-blocked and no one can actually watch the live performance unless you're on some lesser-known websites that under the dark web, as the young ones call it. You can find it rooting around somewhere. Norway talks about visions of the future. Do you think she would have predicted her position? Let's go to Callie in France. He's shaking his head.
I think it's a really fun song. She's so bubbly. I love the interaction that she has with her backing singers. I think we really miss backing singers on stage these days. Nowadays they're all hidden in the darkness. They don't even have to show them anymore. Here you had the 5 singers. She was interacting with them. I love the fact that she has this little giggle as well in the middle of the song, which I don't know. I've read somewhere that was impromptu. I don't know if that's true or not, but she wasn't meant to do that. It just showed a lot of confidence on stage. Obviously, it wasn't the first time she tried to represent Norway. She She tried earlier with a group of herself and her sister and 2 other brothers, not her brothers, and a group called Pastel in 1985 with a song called Ring Ring Ring. I thought Norway should have done much better. It's in my top 10 overall. Fantastic high note at the end as well that one of the backing singers has. I love it, and it should have done really well. It did really. I mean, I only got 1 point from Iceland. Just 1 point from Iceland. You wouldn't think Norway would just get 1 point from Iceland. The highest it got was 6 from Denmark, which is nothing for a song of this quality. It did so well in the national final as well. I just don't know what went wrong. So for me, that was a tragedy.
And Portugal, Dina from Portugal sings about, if you translate the song into English, it actually translates, it's really weird. It talks about her lover being a fruit. So, team, if you would describe this song, what kind of fruit would it be? Let's start with Ian and Donna.
This is a question I wasn't really expecting. Oh my, what fruit would you go for?
I'm not really sure. It's
Turkey would be a banana, I would say. But Portugal fruit.
I'll go with an apple.
Let's throw this out to the general panel. Any guys, any kind of fruits you think might sum up Portugal?
Marrow.
Pineapple. It's not that spiky.
I was thinking a passion fruit because the Jersel was passionate about it, you know.
She was definitely passionate about it. Okay, so overall then, a bit of a mixed bag. Let's move on to the next set of songs. This is the next 3, which came 16th, 15th, and 14th. It's Germany, Switzerland, and Spain. And here we have some slight controversies, plus a couple of returning artists. Let's have a listen. So Vind, as it's pronounced, came second in 1985 and 1987, 2 times. So thought they would try third time lucky. Should they have kind of kept to 1987 being their final entry? Yeah, let's start with Steve, or should I say Sigga from Iceland. What hell happened to Vind this year?
Oh, very much more flatulence than Vind, perhaps. But it wasn't schlagertastic at all. It was a real plodding schlager song, just nowhere near what it used to be. But what their previous entries were. But I remember this was one of the favourites actually at the time. And I remember feeling that they're not going to get anywhere with this. It was just a real plodding song.
What are your thoughts on this, Sean?
Yeah, it was shit. I'm sorry. It really was dire. It was just a boring mid-tempo song. That the staging was it was cluttered. It was just awful. I mean, and some of the lyrics, when you have a look into the lyrics, she's saying, dreams are there for everyone, believe in them and hold them tight. And then in the next verse, she says, the old man over there, he was once rich. He now falls asleep under bridges. It's like, what about your dreams? Right, hold your dreams tight. And then it's disjointed. It's not very pleasant to listen to. I'm surprised it did as well as 16th.
And let's talk about Switzerland. And there was quite a controversy here, Steve, wasn't there?
Yeah. So Daisy O'Vray with her stripper number called Hey Mr. Music. And the real concern, she might actually take her clobber off, but thankfully she didn't. She didn't actually win the Swiss national final. It was won by Geraldine Olivier with a song called Soleil Soleil, which she sang in a very high type jacket.
Should we take a listen?
Let's take a listen, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, look, a yellow outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Yellow was the new black.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, a kind of a very nasally voice as well, and typical Schlager of the times. I think that was a better song than the one that they actually had to send at the end of the day, but I don't think either of them were fantastic, to be honest.
What happened to it?
Because it was apparently it was submitted in the French selection for the Swiss selection. They have 3 different selection processes, and it didn't get through. So she put German lyrics to it and put it through to the German selection, and it won and then got disqualified. So
yeah, a disgrace.
And which one would have done better? Would Mr. Music Man still have scored better, do we think, than Soleil?
Well, I think Mr. Music Man did better than I thought it would do. So I'd say it probably would have finished around about the same place.
To be fair, it was all tits and tassels, really, wasn't it?
I loved it. Not because of the tits and tassels. They don't float my boat.
Notice.
And of course, Serafin for Spain took part again a few years later, good 8 years later, for Spain in 2000 with this little number. Que no me obliguen a pisar el suelo, que solo quiero seguir, dado de un sueño. Sean, what do we think with regards to Serafin's 2 efforts? Which one is the better, do you think?
I think 92 was better, definitely. Yeah. Music is all this it translates into. And it also represented Spain in 2000, didn't he, as well? I think did he come 18th in 2000? So he did slightly worse than his 14th place in Malmö. But he's I quite like the song. It's a nice little ballad. He's comparing his lover with all the music that surrounds her and stuff. It's quite nice lyrics, But he's done all sorts. This guy as well. He's been in Strictly, hasn't he, over in Spain? And despite his disability, was runner-up.
Someone got the memo. Someone got the memo and did some research this week. Yes.
Why have you got him sitting in the green room, Stuart?
Serafin.
He should be on commentating. Yeah,
it's a good point, actually. Let's have a little look at Serafin. There he is on the left, bottom left. Give us a wave, Serafin.
But he also competed in the Spanish version of Splash. You know, the UK show. We had Tom Daly doing it with all the celebs diving. He did Splash as well.
You're showing off now, Sean. No one's interested.
No, that's it. I don't know whether go on. Ask me any more questions. I'm knackered.
He also participated in the selection the year before in 1991. Came second.
It wasn't a selection that year, was it?
It was an internal selection. Yeah, he came second that year.
Yeah, because it was determined by who would pay the most in those days.
Yeah, the San Marino effect.
Yes.
Right, let's move on. So songs that came 13th and 12th. That's Yugoslavia, which of course that'll be their last ever entry as Yugoslavia, and Denmark. Let's take a listen. So, of course, in 1989, we had... What have I missed? Who cares? In 1989, we had Nina. Of course, 1991, the year before, we had Nina. This year, we got extra Nina. Nicholas, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, this is the last entry from Yugoslavia." Technically, it's the first entry of Serbia and Montenegro, because they weren't really Yugoslavia anymore at that time. I think it was interesting because we got to remember, like, this was just before all the Eastern countries came in. This was just before we got just a long trail of all these songs that sounds exactly like this one. So I think in 1992 it stood out. I think that's why it did so well. had it been sent just like 3 or 4 years later, when countries like someone like Bosnia Herzegovina was in the contest, when Croatia was in there, this song wouldn't have done nearly as well. I think the reason why this did so well at this point was because it was kind of different than anything else. It was this like a Balkan sound that used to be only Yugoslavia being able to send that. Now Eurovision is full of it.
Didn't one think like it sounded like two different songs kind of pulled together? Yeah. That's what it felt like to me. Good stuff. I saw you swaying to this. No hiding.
Yeah.
No hiding. No, you're off camera. I saw you moving. What did you make of this?
I like this one. She's a diva, isn't she? But it also kind of reminds me of like a circus song somehow. So I'm like,
is that a compliment?
I don't know. I'm like, should I dance to this? I want to dance to this, but I'm confused.
Well, if you're confused about this, let's get to Denmark.
Please no.
I did some research into this, and the lyrics translated say Lotta being the female, of course, stranded at a nightclub, and her boyfriend leaves her. She then starts chatting to this other guy, Kenny. They kind of hit it off, and she ends up leaving him. Leaving her boyfriend to run off with Kenny. So, Nicholas, obviously you're Danish, so you're representing this tonight, and of course you've come as Kenny. So, promiscuity, this is a thing in Denmark, and they like to translate that onto the Eurovision stage, I assume. What's all that about?
I think it's interesting that I feel like when people talk about controversial entries at Eurovision, people are always like, oh, well, Denmark's only had that long kiss, and it's like, no, we had that song about having an affair. And I think I remember reading somewhere that there was a few countries who was actually very much against having this song in the contest, because it is like, because some people say that it's kind of encouraging you, because what's wrong with a little affair, right? I think I've never heard any like controversy surrounding it in Denmark. In fact, I feel like this is one of the more like iconic Danish winners, one of those that you know people remember from like the Dansk Melodi Grand Prix songs, but I think with that being said, I like it. I think it's a great song, but I think we need to look at Lotte Nilsson, the second part of this duo. She was originally part of the duo Snapshot, who has participated in Dansk Melodi Grand Prix quite a few times. I mean, they've come like second and third, and they've done pretty well, but I will still say that their song from 1983, Giver du et knus, which came second to Kloden Drejer, that song, one of the best Dansk Melodi Grand Prix entries ever. Snapshot should have been at Eurovision. They were such a great duo, and they would have been so great on that stage. But it was nice that she finally got her chance to represent Denmark. Yeah.
And Wogan. You must have.
Sorry. I wasn't paying attention as usual.
Yeah,
I was just refreshing my glass and having a word with the present Mrs. Wogan. But anyway, what did you want?
Nice to see you've stayed in character as always. You must have something to comment on this particular song.
The Danish song is shite.
It is.
I'm sorry. I mean, I well done for representing the song so beautifully, but you didn't mean a word of it, did you? It's not really a popular song in Denmark now, is it? Sure.
Well, not now, but I feel like when people think back to like some of the Dansk Melodi Grand Prix winners, I feel like this is one of those that gets mentioned. If there are any people in the chat, which I can see there is, do feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because it could just be within like my little bubble that it's one of those that I remember being introduced to, at least when I started becoming a Melodi Grand Prix fan.
Okay, I would say that this is the song that started my antipathy towards the Danish people, and culminated in 2001, and Dr. Death and the Fairy, and Dr. Death and the Tooth Fairy.
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling bringing Wogan on the show might be a bad choice. Anyway, moving on. Let's look at songs that finished 11th and 10th. That's Cyprus and Austria. And we have two returning entrants again. But of course, this wasn't the last time that we would see either Evridiki or Tony Vegas. Let's take a look at Evridiki's other two entries. Ian and Donna.
Yes.
Evridiki, what a sex kitten.
Oh, wow. Yes. Terry, didn't you describe her as smouldering off the screen in that one?
Yes, indeed. I could have called a gammon or pert, but smouldering off the screen.
But yes, she really was. She reminded me a lot of Elvira meets Jessica Rabbit, but without the appendages. But it was a cracking song, that one. I think out of the three, I prefer that one out of all of her entries. I really do.
Terry Asdermy.
Yeah, I just
Terry
really hope that
Asdermy.
went out after the watershed. Because that is just.
She certainly was. If points just go for that look, that the stage presence and everything is fabulous. But it's a slightly different style to the rest of the songs in the pack as well, so I quite like that. So what about?
Yeah, and just to have that degree of stage presence while being very static, absolutely captures the attention. It's it's a great performance.
She was certainly not on practice though, because she was backing vocalist as well for 3 previous times in the 80s. Yeah. So she's certainly had a stint at Eurovision.
And each time she's done something different.
Well, they've all done that. This is the year. This is the year of returning artists, isn't it? Steve, Evridiki, I've just heard that she's been backing singer multiple times. She took part in Eurovision 3 times. Which of these 3 entries was your favourite?
Oh, definitely 1994. I felt that one was really, really classy. I love that.
And talking of returning artists, let's turn our attention to Tony Vegas, who has a slight checkered past. It all kind of went wrong for him, kind of went off the rails post-Eurovision 1993. This was his entry in 1993, Maria Magdalena. Maria Magdalena, do this good life. Maria Magdalena, change me in every time. That's got some oomph to it, hasn't it? Ian and Donna, what did you make of that one?
I like that particular one. Yeah. Certainly much better than the one he performed in 92. It was a bit poor man's Michael Ball, really, that year. But Maria Magdalena is much better performance as well.
Yeah, because he's a bloody good singer. It does have that feel of it should be the kind of Smoky Lounge cruise ship kind of
crooner vocal,
kind of maybe tribute act. But he's very good. It's just very odd that you take the 2 shots side by side and it's just changed his jacket. Nothing else has changed in his performance.
What do we think?
Come back on.
Ian, what do we think is the reason we had so many entrants in 1992 come back multiple times? Was there something about that year? Was Eurovision just so much in vogue or more in vogue than it is today?
I'm not sure.
Open that out to the panel in general.
Yeah, it's an interesting because it's also this is also just before the age of the internet really kicking off, and all the stuff you'd read about would be either on television or newspapers or magazines. So I wonder if it's partly to do with that. There's less of the sort of public discussion that's the open public discussion that we now have. I wonder if that's maybe part of it. You can come back with things repeatedly, whereas not quite so easy to do now.
Although
maybe not.
Obviously, things were opening out in Europe a lot more as well. So it was, you really wanted to put your best artist forward, in a sense. A familiar face sometimes can never hurt, especially if they've got a good vocal. So it establishes you more, in a sense, than, against some of the newer countries with fresh artists. So you've got something that a viewer, as a regular viewer, can go, oh, yeah, that woman, she was great,
So question for you, Steve. Which of the two? First of all, which of the two Tony Vegas songs were your favourite? And what was the kind of? Why did we get so many returning artists?
I preferred the 1992 entry for Tony Vegas, even though it was very, very formulaic. I thought it was a really strong song. I think it was one of the favourites at the time. I thought Maria Magdalena was just a bit frantic and a bit desperate.
Don't think Callie agrees with you. He's shaking his head there. He loves it. He loves Maria Magdalena.
I love Maria Magdalena. It's actually Maria Magdalena is actually when I did it used to be in my top 10 all-time favourite Eurovision songs. It's now sort of like number 11 or so, but because there've been so many good songs lately. But I love it. Love that song.
Are you all right, Wogan? Have you had a drink?
Yeah, I was thinking of Maria Magdalena, but I think
sounds like you have.
I preferred the Croatian one from 1999.
Yeah. Good
anyway, no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry, that's all you're getting from me. You've not paid me yet.
Well, at least you're on point as always. Let's move on to song number 9, or the song that came 9th. Now, this is a personal favourite of mine, and Nicholas is going to talk about it next. And I've told him he's got to be nice about it. This is Netherlands with Wijs me de weg.
Wijs me de weg naar het nieuwe land. Wijs me de weg, neem me bij de hand. Wijs me de weg naar mensen om me heen.
There you go, Nicholas. How does this rank in terms of all-time Dutch entries, in your opinion?
I think this is one of the strong ones. I think I can totally understand why you love this one, because it's fun, and especially in this year, I think it's kind of the perfect song. I love that they're actually out there using the whole stage. I like how they have some choreography and they work with. I think it's for the times. It's a modern song, and I think it's fun. It's catchy. It's one you would like to dance to. It's something that I can imagine that people were bobbing along to at home. So yeah, it's memorable for the time for sure. And I think there is a reason why this did so well. I think because we've talked about the Netherlands kind of like coming back, and I think I would love to see the Netherlands try something a little bit more fun again, because I feel like the past couple of years we've had either like up-tempo country or down-tempo country, or then we had something like arcade. I would love to see the Netherlands try again at something that's fun like this, because I think it's one of their strongest. I think there are other examples of these like great fun songs from them. So that's my wish from the Netherlands in the future, to see more fun songs from them again.
Bit of fun trivia for you. So Humphrey Campbell was in fact, talking of which, there's Campbell Lorry on the screen there, but Humphrey Campbell was actually Mr. Ruth Jacot. And they were a couple right up until 2011. And you can see from this graphic I have on screen that he actually is the backing singer. If you look very closely, he's the one in the middle, obviously. Yeah,
there he is.
He's not had a sex change in the case of a year.
You'd never know. Eurovision does wonders to everyone,
Can't rule it out. Absolutely. What do we make of the choreography, though, Nicholas? How fantastic was that?
I think it's a kind of choreography that you just want to get up and learn. Obviously, today in like these days, we've talked a lot about how much a choreography can do for a Eurovision song, and I think as important as it is today, I think it was just as important back then. If you have something that's memorable but still sort of easy to follow along to, I think that people can get behind it and want to do it at home. The people who are sitting there with their VHS tapes, taping the contest, just watching that over and over on VHS, trying to learn the dance. I think there's a lot to be said about that. It makes your song more memorable.
Totally agree. Right, moving on to the song that came 8th. This is your turn, Tristan. Yeah. It's Calais from France. Let's take a look.
Montez la rivière. Entre les roches et les racines, un jour tu verras la source de la rivière. Montez la rivière.
Oh, I had it right. Can't do that. Anyway, fantastic song. Can you believe I actually rehearsed for that? This was the beginning of France doing really left field things and being quite brave with languages, because this was in Antillean Creole. The following year, they did a song in Corsican with Mama Corsica. A few years later, they had a song in Breton. And when you compare Spain, for example, which has also got a lot of official languages, Catalan, Galician, Basque, etc., they've never ever sung in any language apart from Spanish and English. France, on the other hand, and I remember that when Spain had that Que me quiten lo bailao, she really wanted to sing a little bit in Galician, and they wouldn't let her. France, on the other hand, has been very open-minded, even though they're so proud of the French language. They've been very open-minded in Eurovision about introducing and using the other languages, and this was really different. And then it started a whole load of different songs. I mean, we had a couple of years later, you had that fantastic song "Je suis un frère garçon," which was just so out there and so different to anything that we'd had. And that's right up until this year. This year, France kind of had a very pedestrian song, but up until then, we've always been looking forward to the French song and things they're going to be bringing. It's been different, and I love it. This is just such a happy, fun song, and it was absolutely great.
Stunning, and probably well before its time. Can we just have that comment back up, please, Nicholas? Because I think it's really, really appropriate. Elliot in the chat room says, "Is it's like reggae elevator music?" Elliot, is your music taste always wrong? I think so. Let's move on to song that came 7th. It's Iceland. This is another lady that's done the round in Eurovision terms. This is Siga from Iceland. So Siga actually holds quite the record for being in Eurovision 4 times in a row. Why would you do it to yourself? But let's take a look at Siga's performances 4 years in a row from 1990. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. She also came back in 2007 as a backing singer. You didn't see her. She went on stage. So, not really cared. But anyway, Siga, Gustav, you're on mute. Take yourself off mute. Thank you very much. I asked you to have a little listen to this one and give your thoughts being a proud Scandinavian. What did you make of this Icelandic entry? And it came seventh, which is quite respectable for Iceland, especially these days. Did it over or underscore?
It should have won.
Ooh.
I didn't really know about this song before I started looking into it, and I absolutely love it. Like, I think it might be one of my favorite Eurovision songs now. I just love it. It's so happy, and I just wanted to do their little perfect Eurovision choreography. And Siga is so fabulous. I want to be her friend.
Can someone tell me what song it? Because I feel like it's very much reminds me of some other popular song, but I cannot remember which song it is.
Yeah,
the Danish song where the woman was 9 months pregnant. Was it 89? Came 3rd.
Oh, Bertha Kier.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily that one I'm thinking about, but you're right about that.
I mean, they all sound the same. These Schlager.
That's true.
The song from 1990 is indistinguishable.
I thought I was supposed to talk.
I know, you can't shut him up. Shut up, Wogan. Pop in your box. Back with you, Gustav.
Yeah, so I don't know where I was anymore.
So which of Siga's 4 entries do you think was the best? Was that the best for you?
This one. It's amazing.
And Ziggo in the corner over there, this way, because I can't get my directions right on this bloody stream thing. Ziggo in the corner. That's right, Nicholas. Thank you. Which was your favourite, darling?
Me?
Yeah, you're Ziggo.
Me? Yes, I am. I like her 94 entry. I felt that was hugely underrated at the end of the day. But of course, she did pick it from her sister, because her sister actually won the national final with it.
Yes, she did. And we'll save that for another day, because you never know. We might have a Retrovision 1994 featuring Natur. Should we move on? Let's talk about the song that came 6th. That includes this man down here, Mr. Bongo Player. Are you ready, Sean? Are you ready? You got your bongos out?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, matron.
Let's have a little listen. So Dafna was asked where she would like to finish, and she said between 5th and 7th, and she came 6th. So she nailed it. She nailed it. But was she robbed, Sean?
It's a good song. I think 6th is probably right. Yeah. It wasn't the best song in the competition. It's just, it was good. It was good. I love the big hair. I love a big, bright purple outfit. I love the backing singers and the bongos and these ridiculous things. Microphones stuck to the t-shirts. What's that all about? I just don't get it. Why did they do that? I love the fast-paced flamenco style to the track. She's singing about that she's a prisoner of music and she's addicted to the rhythm and she just wants to dance her troubles away and stuff. It's just, it's a good fun song. It did really well, and I think about maybe 6 is probably about right for it. Yeah.
How do you think it compares to a lot of other, probably more recent Israeli entries? Do you think do you think they kind of copied it and moved forward with it, that kind of style, or do you think they maybe kind of missed a trick there? Some of the more later 90s entries.
I mean, I think they missed a trick. I mean, if you look, Israel's had some classic entries. You know, they've won it, 4 times, and it's Hallelujah and Diva and Toy and what the other one? I can't say it. I can't. Whatever it is. Yeah, that one. But even more recently, I like Light a Candle. And there must be another way. Love that song. Right through to Golden Boy in 2015, which was the one in Vienna.
But Sean,
Golden Boy.
I think
I'm not singing them all.
Fakir Labia, their entry this year, for me, sounds very, very similar to this. I think they could have had a good year.
No. Do you think so?
Yeah, I do. I bet you Easter on.
Yeah. This fitting well with 1992, but it's 2020 now, and I just think it would have been lost in this year's competition. There's so many strong songs. It's not as strong as some of the ones over recent years. Hovi Star Made of Stars was an amazing song. I loved Imri and I Feel Alive, and even Kobe's Home. I didn't like it before I actually saw it live, but what a performance! I thought it was beautiful. But so
of course we can't really move on from Dafna without talking about, or at least mentioning, the fact she was one of the presenters in 1999, and there she is. There she's on the right, not the one in the centre. Okay, no sex change. And you never know, you may also see another Retrovision 1999 coming at some point in the future. Anyway, moving on to song that came 5th. We are going to talk about Greece, and this is their song. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. You'll be delighted to know. Here we go. So, Steve, Greece. Where did that come from? Where did it come from? It wasn't expected to finish this high, surely.
No, I did. I love this one. I remember at the previews, this was the one that I kept on playing at the time. I love a bit of wailing, though. I love a bit of ethnic kind of stuff. And I thought this was a really good entry. Not as strong as it was in the previews. The live performance was fine, but it lacked a little something. But I think fifth was a very good placing for it. I think it's a really good song.
And for you, where does this kind of stack up in terms of the other Greek entries in the 90s? Because it placed one of the highest, didn't it? Fifth was I mean, I personally, I'm a big fan of 91, Sofia Vossou, and 1993, Kati Garbi. For you, where does this kind of fit?
I think this is the best of them, but I love the other two as well. Kind of tailed off a little bit towards the end of the 90s, obviously with the 98 entrance, which Andy knows more about than I do. But yeah, with their single 12 points from Cyprus that they got. I think this is a really good song.
And I've got to go to Wogan because she was kind of revealing a bit. It was a bit low cut, the old dress, wasn't it, Wogan? Did you like that one?
She was very pert, and there was a whiff of the souk about it.
Can we do like I'm going to just go back to Nicholas. Nicholas, how many times has he said that? Can we kind of do a sweepstake or something?
I think should we just put Elliot on it? Like he'll make a video. He'll count it. He does that stuff for a living, you know.
It was a very good, very good Baltic number. Oh, did I say Baltic? I might have meant Baltic.
No idea what you're talking about. Okay, let's move on to the song that came fourth, and the only reason that I could get Andy out to do the show this evening. This is Mia Martini. It's actually true for Italy, and I haven't actually got it, so I can't be bothered with it. So we'll just move on to the song that came third.
You haven't got it.
Siamo noi sperduti qui, così diversi dagli eroi del nostro film, con l'ironia e un po' di guai in questa immensa rapsodia dei nostri ormai.
And before we start talking about this, I'd just like to go to Nicholas and let's quickly jump into the chat room. There looks like over 120 comments so far this show. Absolutely delighted for all your interactions. Nicholas, how's it going in the chat room?
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement going on today. We've had a lot of really positive comments. There's been a lot of love for a lot of the songs tonight, so that's been lovely. So a big hello to everyone. We have people from all over Europe. I feel like I can see some Danish names, some English names. I think I saw a Turkish name somewhere. So yeah, People are tuning in. A lot of people tuning in on Facebook as well. So hello to everyone on Facebook as well.
Give everyone a nice hello. Hello everyone on Facebook.
Hello.
Hello Europe. Hello the world. Hello Australia. Hello China. Ooh. Keep inside, you bloody Chinese. Anyway, let's move on.
That's gonna get the video banned on YouTube. That's for sure.
So I read that bit out. He said it anyway. It was him.
No.
Yeah, blame the Danes.
He's gone.
Right, before I come to Andy, you can come back now, co-host. I didn't really mean it. Let's have a little listen to the entry that Mia Martini also sent in 1977. Ian and Donna, how do the two songs compare?
Oh, well, she's a belter of a lass, this one. But you can't really compare them as such, can you? You've got one which is a happy, poppy number by the sounds of it, and the other one which is totally sending the clowns. It's so theatrical and lush, and you just want to sit in a smoky lounge and sit there and listen to her all night. She definitely matured well, let's put it that way.
She did. Yeah, she did. It's great. Very classy entry, Rhapsodia. Do we think fourth was the right position for this one?
No.
I think she could have easily won it personally. And I don't know how Malta got as high, but we can do that in a minute.
Yeah, this is
Well,
pretty
we'll come
classy.
to Rising Damp in a minute. Sorry, Ian, I didn't mean to cut you off there. So you were saying.
It's a very classy piece of songwriting. It's very uncompromising. This is the song, this is the singer, this is the style. They've not gilded it with anything. There's no big production around it. This is just letting the song do the work and the singer do the work, and it works brilliantly as a result.
Unusually, this is one that was written for Eurovision rather than one that she actually took to Sanremo, which was a whole different song entirely. And I've been informed as well that a few Italians I know do not know of this song. They love Mia, absolutely worship her, and I can see why, but this particular one, not a clue.
Ooh, okay, Wogan. You're here.
Well, so the Italians,
so just get on with it, will you?
The Italians haven't always loved Mia Martini. She fell out of favour between 1977 and 1989 when she made a comeback because she was thought to be jinxed. Everybody she came into contact with ended up with a sticky end or something. Came to a sticky end. So she was thought of as being a bit of a witch. She came back in 1989 with a fantastic song in Sanremo. She did the same in 1992, where she came second, and she brought Rhapsody to Eurovision. And for me, if you put a gun to my head, this will be the song that I would say is the best ever song in Eurovision. And this is, for me, the best ever performance in Eurovision as well. I mean, there are many, many fantastic songs, lots of flawless performances, but this would be the one, if I had to choose, that I would choose as the best.
So I think there's two moving songs which I think back to over the years and think potential winners of their respective years. This one and Zeus for Albania. And how do these two compare? If you were to put a gun to your head, Mr. Wogan, and say Zeus or Rhapsody, which one would you pick?
I would say by a small margin, I would say Rhapsody. He was never going to win in 1992. There was no chance. It didn't matter what they sent. After the shambles of the 1991 hosting of the show, there was no way that those juries were going to be allowed to choose the Italian song. And you can see later on in the show, after Mr. Neff gets his chance to say his bit, he thanks the Swedes for doing a very serious and sensible show. And you can tell that no way was Italy going to be allowed to win this year, which is a shame.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the third the song that finished third, which was, of course, Malta. We've already mentioned it, and obviously there were a few negative faces there. This is, of course, Mary Spiteri and Little Child.
This moment continue, a little sweet for sun will make it on the shore. Be it sound, be it gladness, we can start it all anew. Look at me, and the sun comes shining.
Of course, for those who don't know, Mary actually took part in the national finals of Malta in 1971 and 75. This is a song about someone who's becoming old and cynical, hence the little child bit. Come in, Callie from France. Take us through Malta. What did you make of this one?
I mean, yeah, she looks. I mean, she looks like Shirley Bassey. Her hair is very Shirley Bassey. The style that she has, the intonation, on stage, but her voice isn't. Her voice isn't anything like Shirley Bassey. No, she's very, very much like it. She has that like Shirley Bassey feel to it when she's belting a song out. I don't think the song is that great, and I think it did well largely because it was in the English language. Hence, the top three all in the English language, and that was a theme. That's probably partly why they started relaxing the language rules, because Malta, Ireland, and the UK were overperforming, doing much better than they really should be. It's okay. It's an interesting thing I read about it. It holds the record apparently for the longest note in a Eurovision song, 13 seconds. I haven't compared that to Quédate Conmigo, but I'll just have to bow down to. I'm sure they must have checked all the long notes and this one didn't seem particularly long, but 13 seconds apparently. And it's but one of the things I must say about this song.
Probably as long as your Wi-Fi connection holds out, Tristan.
Award, Sparta Dex Award. I think her dress is one of the most beautiful dresses that we've had at Eurovision. That beautiful purple dress, starting with different shades of purple from the top to the bottom. It is breathtaking, absolutely beautiful. So I think rather than always criticising dresses, it's nice every now and then when there's something really lovely to mention it.
I agree with you, but in the words of Linda Martin, she was known as Rising Damp.
Oh, am I going down?
Oh, he's lost his internet connection. Okay, so let's move on to the song that finished second. It was a fantastic year for the United Kingdom.
Yeah. Did you hear me? Did you hear any of that?
Yeah, we got all of that. We got it all. We got it all, Tristan. You just lost you at the very last minute. We're going to move on to the United Kingdom. This is Michael Ball with One Step at a Time.
You say that I'm wrong, then you tell me that I'm coming on too strong. One step at a time. One reason to put this love on the line. Again, can't believe that it's true. Now I'm one step at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time.
Everyone's enjoying that one. So let's start with Sean.
Oh, I love it.
Michael Ball.
Michael Balls. I mean, the BBC really played a trump card, didn't they? I think by sending him, definitely so. A decent career in the West End, in Les Miserables and Phantom of the Opera. It had a Love Changes Everything, wasn't it? His number 2 hit a few years earlier, and great song. Is well renowned as being an outstanding performer and vocalist, and I love the song. It's one of my favourite UK Eurovision songs. But I hate his performance. I do. It's just it's just so cheesy. All the one step at a time, and the and the facial expressions. I mean, like, it's like he's having a stroke. It is. I just think, it really must have rubbed some juries up the wrong way. And perhaps if it had just toned it down a little bit, then he may well have won it. If he'd have just toned his expressions and his performance down a touch, I think he could have taken the trophy home.
If he'd have turned it down a little bit more, then he'd have been Tony.
Yeah, good point.
Tony Vegas, just with a different jacket.
Yeah,
he would have done. So I look back at this year and I think this is probably the one UK song. Actually, there's two, isn't there? There's one that followed the year after with Sonia, where I actually think I feel quite sad that the UK didn't quite make it, because I think these are two. This particular was one song that I think actually probably should have done it, in my opinion. Not to downgrade Linda's song, of course. Andy, where do you put this in terms of winning Eurovision or just being
it wasn't a winning song in any way. I don't like the song at all. But the BBC spent a fortune on glitter, rolled it in glitter until it absolutely shone. That was a performance and a half. I'm sorry, I just don't know what you're talking about, Sean. Everything that you say that you don't like about it, I like, and everything about the song that you like, I dislike. I thought he did a fantastic performance of selling that song. I really, really did. And he deserved to win. Mia deserved to win. Linda deserved to win. And actually, even Mary Spiteri deserved to win for the performances. They were great performances. But Michael Ball, he had a #1 album. Half the songs from the national final were on it. So he did extremely well out of Eurovision, even by not winning.
Yeah. And I've seen a few interviews with him recently where he's a little bit more warm towards Eurovision. He was quite negative at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, so you talked about, would you ever do Eurovision again? I'd rather stick needles in my eyes.
Wow.
So Stuart, since you've come as Michael Ball, would you like to stick some needles in your eyes for us all?
Yeah, go on.
After an hour of you guys, I'm ready to drink fucking bleach. Anyway, let's...
It should help with the virus, so it's all good. Go ahead.
Exactly. If the American boss says so, it's fine by me. Nicholas, just before we move on, from your point of view as a Dane, because we're all Brits, of course, should it have won? Was it the right result, or should it have fared even worse?
It's hard because obviously the song we're gonna come to next is, one of the song that started it all for Ireland, right? I think Ireland was a fantastic winner, but this is for its time super modern, probably the most modern song, at least in my opinion, that was this year. I think it's so much fun. I think I agree with what Andy said. Like all of the glitter, all of the smugness, all of this is what makes this a full performance. He went out there and just did every single thing he possibly could to win it, and I love that. I love the energy surrounding this song, and it's the kind of song that I could actually see myself listening to even today. So I think it very much could have won.
And I'm gonna just one word from Gustav. As a Swede, should it have won? Yes or no? He's on mute. He's got to work out where his mute button is. No, we still can't find it. It should have won.
Yes.
There you go. So we're just too negative about our own entries. Let's talk about the winning song. Let's talk about the winning song. I've got to find it now. This is Linda Martin with "Why Me." A song written by Johnny Logan, but this wasn't the first Johnny Logan song that he had written for Linda Martin, was it? She came second in 1984 with this little banger.
The way he turned his back and walked away, I repeated all the words he had said until a voice came through into my head. Capital 3, like some time.
There you go. So, Wogan, worthy winner or not?
Oh, no. Listen, this is a really good song. When he sings it, it's a man song. When a woman sings it, it's a doormat song. Why me? I look at him and I ask myself, why me? I think, Jesus Christ. She's a great singer, though. She sold it very well. And she's a fantastic live performer. And I'm pleased she won because she loves Eurovision and she still entertains us all. But no, it wasn't the best song of the night by any means.
Krista Björkman, what did you make of this?
I don't really like this song. Surprise. I don't know. It's something that doesn't sit right with me, and I can't say why. I just don't.
Okay. Ian and Donna, for you, does this go down as one of the most memorable Irish winners?
Yes, actually. But only because Johnny Logan's actually more well known, I think, for me. Donna's always a good bet as well. But I wouldn't say it's one unless I'd kind of got the best of greatest hits and all that I'd possibly go, oh yeah, that one.
I think they really got the package right with this one. It's a very well written song. The orchestration's beautiful. And it's one that, again, I've mentioned a couple of times, this is one that really picks up the live orchestra. If this had just been done with backing tracks, I don't think it would have done as well. But it just has this lovely lush sound in the background. It swells beautifully. It does work. And as a live performance, it's great. It really is good. A lot of what makes the Italian entry good is also in this. This just has probably a bit more of a more popular appeal. But it is, it's a proper, well put together and brilliantly performed song.
It ticks a lot of Eurovision boxes as well with the key changes and she really gives it 110% in her delivery as well.
She is known, though, for being a bit of a feisty madam, isn't she? It's fair to say there have been one or two controversies. She was very loose-lipped in Amsterdam last year, talking about Mary Spiteri, etc. And she was relatively loose-lipped whilst picking the Eurovision entrant for Ireland a few years ago. Should we take a little look?
Odious little man.
Oh, Linda.
The only person, Louis, that bounces off Louis Walsh like water off a duck's back.
You shouldn't be on the panel neither because you're on Louis' payroll.
Let me tell you, you may not be used to dealing with women with brains, but I have a brain. My brain goes into the drive.
That's enough now. Okay, now back to
Cop shite. Brilliant.
Steve, isn't it great to see Linda still active on the Eurovision scene and still as feisty as ever?
She's fabulous, isn't she? You wouldn't pick an argument with her. You wouldn't want to meet her in a dark night on a dark street or anything like that, would you? But she was fantastic. And I thought the whole thing was a very competent performance as well.
I agree.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it was. I think we're about done. I think what all we have left really to ask our panel is who they would have picked as their winner of Eurovision 1992. Was Ireland their winner? And we're going to start with Sean. Sean, for you, who should have won in Eurovision 1992?
I think Michael Ball should have won it. Even though I didn't like his performance, I think he should have won it. I think he had the stronger song, definitely.
Let's go to Sweden and Gustav or Krista. Who should have won Eurovision 1992? And you are allowed to vote for your own country.
Well, I'm going to say Iceland.
Iceland. Okay. Ian and Donna.
You first.
It's probably between Michael Ball and with the UK and Italy, and I think Italy has the edge on it. If Michael's song had shown off his voice better, yeah, but I think the Italian one just better song.
I actually agree as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's the first as well.
Steve, for you, who should have won Eurovision 1992?
Definitely Italy. Definitely.
Feels like Italy at the moment. Let's go to Mr. Wogan.
Well, she's never won anything in her life. Me and Martini before, but she wins tonight. Without a shadow of a doubt.
So I think Italy have won unless me and Nicholas choose someone completely different. Nicholas, who would you have won?
See, it's a bit hard for me because obviously I've probably heard Why Me a whole lot more than I've heard some of the other songs. But I think at the end of the day, like if I were to pick between Linda and Michael, I think Michael would actually be my winner because I feel like it's just more memorable. And Why Me, while it's a great song, it's not the best of what Ireland sent in the 90s. That's probably Rock and Roll Kids in my opinion. So yeah, I would actually pick Michael.
And I would have gone with Michael as well. So it's a tie between Michael Ball of the UK and Mia Martini of Italy. However, Tristan's having some issues technically. So let's see if we can bring him in. Can you hear us, Tristan or Callie from France? Who would have won Eurovision 92 for you?
Who should have?
Yes.
No, it should have been Cyprus for me.
Well, that changes nothing.
I mean,
it's a good choice.
You mean of those two?
Oh dear. Oh, any song. Any song.
Oh yeah, Cyprus for me was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. One of my favourites. Of the two that I preferred Linda of the two that were top two by a mile. But Cyprus for me was the one to beat, and loved it.
There you go. So in general, we've gone for Italy or the United Kingdom to win Eurovision this year. Sorry, Linda, but I'm sure you would have been there or thereabouts it anyway if we could vote for more than one country. Gobshite! Just like to say a massive thank you to everyone in the chat room. We've had I think a few hundred over the course of the show. So I really appreciate the comments. We had nearly over 200 comments since we began tonight's show. So really, really appreciate it. Make sure you join us for this week's watch party. I'm proud to announce this week's watch party will be Eurovision 19. Drum roll, please. Yeah, get your bongos out, Sean. 1977. There you go. So Eurovision 1970. 1977, Rock Bottom, at 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Central European time on our Facebook page this week. And then you can join us here next Sunday at the usual time, 9 p.m. Central European time, 8 p.m. UK time. But we also have a special show this coming Friday as well. We'll be taking you back and having a look at the greatest entries of all time with Greece, and we will give you in the chat room the opportunity to vote for your favorites. So do not miss that. That will be 9 p.m. Central European time on Friday with our host Nicholas. All that's left for me to do is say a big thank you to my panel. Big thank you to one of the bongo players of Israel, Sean. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. I'll take this bloody wig off now. Jesus.
all of a sudden, he's turned into Zigga from Iceland. Thank you, Sean. Good to see you.
See you. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
And the real Zigga from Iceland, we say goodbye to first-timer virgin on ESC Fan TV, Sean. Sean, Steve.
Bye.
Big thanks to Callie or Tristan from France.
Thank you very much. Sorry about the connection in Martinique. It's not great over here, I'm afraid, but try our best.
Good to see you. We say goodbye to look, Christo, he's doing the Queen's wave.
Like a real diva.
Goodbye to Ian and Donna.
Goodbye,
Cheers.
everyone.
Sunglasses, I'll give you a damn thing with them on.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Wogan. It's been fun.
Well, there's been a bit of a whiff of the souk all night.
and I'm going to hand over hosting duties to you for next Sunday. So you're going to take us through 1977.
Well, yeah, but we're going to have two hosts. There's going to be Mike Moran and Lindsay DePaul.
Excellent. Which one are you?
Both. What do you think?
So will one of them be on the green screen and the other will be in front of it?
No. You'll have to. You'll have to tune in and find out. I will. But yes, I will be taking the part. It does help that they're both dressed in the same business suits.
How are you going to get the lipstick on and off?
Well, I'm not sure about that. All the little black spot on.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have their own ways and means.
So
It took me 3 days to get that Greek birds slap off last week.
Yeah. So if you're curious about that, make sure you tune in next Sunday, same time, for Retrovision 1977. And just like to say thank you to my co-host Nicholas.
Thank you, and apologies to Kenny Lübke for the very, very bad impersonation. I really didn't do a great job today, but it was fun nonetheless. I had a lot of fun today.
I think he had lots of fun as well. He's too busy shagging Lotta to care. Anyway, we are so grateful for you to be here this evening. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.